You know, for a movie that's not heavily advertised, this one actually turned out to be pretty great. Welcome back, guys. I just watched a movie called Shot Caller, and before you guys start asking in the comments section, it took me a very long time to find this movie because I've seen people talk about it. I've seen like the reviews, I've seen it on IMDb, and I've seen some scores like on different like websites, and I was wondering how the hell are they watching this movie because it's not released in the US yet. They have like pre-screenings here and there, but I couldn't find one in my local town. So I did some digging on Google, and finally I found it on DirecTV Cinema. I know, it's super weird, but it's on there for like $10.99, so like 12 bucks with tax, I think. So if you guys have a DirecTV account, then go ahead and watch it. I personally didn't have one, so I had to go to a buddy's house and ask them for their account, and I paid them, you know, so I can watch the movie. And all I can say is that those 12 bucks was well spent because this movie was freaking fantastic. But if you guys have another way of watching this movie, then please leave it down in the comments so you guys can help each other out, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to see this film, and it sucks that it's not released yet. But anyways, this movie's about a stockbroker who gets into a fatal car accident. He was under the influence, so they send him to jail for a certain amount of time, but then he gets into some more trouble while he's in jail, and that causes him to like extend his prison time or jail time to like 10 years. But when he gets out of prison, he comes out a completely different man. Like, you can't even recognize this guy from the time that he went in to the time that he went out. But once he is out, he comes out a member of the Aryan Brotherhood, and once he's out, it seems like, you know, he wants to do everything for himself, try to be a better person, but he's kind of forced into orchestrating this gun deal with the Mexican gang, or I think they were called the Essays. Nicholas Coster stars as Money in this movie, the stockbroker slash the gang member that comes out of jail. He looks so freaking different from the time that he was a stockbroker to the time that he was a gang member, because we first see him as like this completely changed man. He doesn't even look recognizable. He doesn't even look like Jamie Lannister that we know from Game of Thrones. But once we go into the flashbacks, you totally see how much he has changed, and that was very well done. And I gotta give props to the makeup team because they make him look so different. The other big heavy hitter in this movie is Jon Bernthal, who plays Shotgun, and he's kind of like a member that helps him like get through prison, trying to like get the easy way out, but at the same time he corrupts him so much that he changes, and he's out of prison. He's trying to help him orchestrate this deal, but at the same time, when we get out of prison, each one of these characters has like a different agenda, and we don't really know what's going on in their heads until like the very end. One thing about the movie itself is the use of flashback. It was very well utilized, because in a lot of movies sometimes I feel like they just throw in flashbacks just for the hell of it to like fill in time, but not in this one. In this one they actually use it with a whole lot of purpose, and I really like that because it develops a lot of character for the stockbroker, or Money in this case. I'm just gonna call him Money because, I mean, who doesn't like money? But all the flashbacks are pertaining to how Money evolves from a stockbroker, a clean-cut guy, into this gang member with tattoos, a beard, and like slick back hair, and he looks badass, I'm not gonna lie. And those flashbacks help so much because it helps me understand, you know, what happened to him in prison, how he changed so much, why he's doing what he's doing now that he's outside of prison, you know, why he left his family, why he's not talking to his son, which is a nitpick, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But it helps me understand so much about this character. He shows so much emotion in this movie, and I really like that because I feel like he doesn't get to do that in Game of Thrones or in other previous movies. But there is one scene in particular in one of the flashbacks where he has to prove himself to the Brotherhood, and it's kind of messed up because you can tell that he doesn't want to do any of that shit because he's never done anything like that. He's a freaking stockbroker, so you can see it in his face. And when he does commit this activity or whatever he was doing, like, it's just like emotional for him, and you can see that through his acting, and it's very well done in his part. Jon Bernthal in this movie, he was great. Like, I don't think he ever misses in any of his performances, even if when it was back then in The Walking Dead, I even liked him back then. This role is kind of like a mixture of the Punisher versus that guy from The Wolf of Wall Street. I can't really remember his name, but he does great in this film. There's some parts of his character that I wish I would have wanted more, because he does bring up some of his loved ones and stuff like that, but we never learned more about that. The casting for this film was great. Like, I liked every single character. It's a very well acted film, and aside from that, the cinematography in this movie is great. Great looking shots, great looking scenes. The dialogue itself is great, and they even have a great score to go along with this film. The tone of the movie is great. It's always one tone. It's always very tense, and at times it doesn't even slow down. Like, the movie is 2 hours long, and honestly I was not bored from the beginning to the end. And when I was watching the movie itself, like the first 10-15 minutes of the film, I could say that maybe it's a little bit predictable because we've seen a lot of like prison films back then, and I thought it was gonna go in this like route of, you know, he's like evolving and trying to get back to his life, but it shifts gears whenever like we go into these flashbacks, because we don't really know what Money's trying to do, because he pushes his family away. He's trying to contact his son, but at the same time he doesn't want his son to like follow in his father's steps, and he's pushing them away again. He's trying to figure out, you know, how to please the shot caller in this film, which is the Beast, and he's kind of running things from within the prison. I mean, we've seen this storyline before in previous like prison or gang movies, but the way that they do it here is pretty great because of the twist at the end. One thing that took me by surprise was the alliance that they formed in this film between like the Mexicans and the Brotherhood, and I didn't know that was an actual thing in real life. I had to do some digging because I kind of didn't believe it at first, but then I looked into it online and I was like, oh shit, you know, this is actually an alliance that they have built kind of to like help each other out. As far as the violence and crime in this movie, you will get it, but I feel like it's not that heavy compared to like other gang movies. I mean, you do have the gun deal that goes down, and I love how the plot is so simple, but everything leading up to it, like there's so many things going on, and it never like gets too crowded or like too crazy with like the twist that they throw in there. It's always like pretty simple to follow along, and that's what I like about this film so much. One thing that I would say towards the very end of the film is that Money's motivations to me don't seem so clear, because it kind of changes, because the whole fact with his family, he's pushing them away. At the very end, I don't really know why he's doing what he's doing. Even his parole officer in this movie, who does a great job as well, is confused, and he's kind of like the audience member watching the film. He literally goes, why would a clean-cut guy go through something like this and, you know, just do this kind of crazy shit? He didn't really say that, but, you know, basically it's what he said. And that's how I felt towards the end. Like, you know, why the hell is he doing that? Like, why would go through all this crap where he could have easily gotten out? And that's why I like the character of Money, because you don't really know what to expect from this guy. You can tell that like something's wrong within himself. If I want to be super nitpicky about the film, one of the flashbacks didn't really work for me because it was during a riot. It's basically there just to tell us what happened between him and his family, and, you know, how he built like this alliance with one of the Mexican gang members. And I can't remember all the names of the actors, but there are so many like TV actors, I would say. Schmidt from New Girls even in this movie, but don't get too attached to him. But yeah, guys, overall, this movie was fantastic. I really liked it. If you like crime dramas, I definitely urge you to check it out. If you guys don't know where to check it out, then try DirecTV Cinema. That's the only way I found it. But yeah, you need an account for that, so I don't know how you're gonna do that unless you have a buddy like I did. The use of the past and present scenes really works well for me. Like I said, the score of this film works so well. The character of the Beast in this film, I feel like kind of lagged, because I wish I would have seen a little bit more about him, because we don't really see him maybe until like half of the way of the movie, and I wish we could have seen a little bit more. But that's just another nitpick. Like, the movie is great. It's not perfect, but at the same time, I can honestly say this is one of the better films I've seen all year, and it's not even out in theaters. What the hell? So I'm gonna give Shot Caller a 4.3 out of 5. I had a lot of fun with this movie, guys. I hope you guys get to check it out. And like I said, you know, if you guys have watched this movie and you have a way of watching this movie and you want other people to watch this movie like I do, please share those links or something in the comments down below. Also, let me know what you guys thought about this film. Aside from that, guys, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, you guys can hit me up at Twitter at FMO1126. I put it down here somewhere. Also, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the little bell at the bottom. And if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with your friends. But as always, guys, stay tuned.